This is Rob Schneider with the Brit, Andrew Doyle. Today on the show, we'll be talking about what we're experts in. Menopause and menstruation, and also some gay stuff. On this episode, Rob Schneider and the Brit. What's happening? Why are all the virtue signaling about menopause lately? Okay, so this is Governor Bob Ferguson. Governor Ferguson. Of what state is Bob Ferguson? Let's see what he says here. Bob Ferguson, state of Washington, of course. The conservative state of, formerly conservative state of Washington. He has signed some legislation. I've signed an executive order to support women in the workplace who experience perimenopause and menopause symptoms. This will ensure my cabinet agencies have appropriate measures in place to support state employees experiencing menopause. As governor, my administration will be a place where workers can serve the people of Washington and know they'll be supported. We'll share this this expertise and guidance with employers all across the state. We believe this is one of the most comprehensive single pieces of policy put forward to date, combining worker protections with increasing health professional education and perimenopause and menopause.
Can you speak to me like someone who doesn't even know what menopause means? What's he proposing here?
Well, menopause is when it's the hormonal change that women go through when they are no longer of birthing age.
Okay. Yes. So I did know that. I did know that. But
old biatches, I think is the term.
Is that
in Latin?
Is that the correct
old
term?
Biatches.
Old biatches.
Io le biatches. No, so it is.
But what's he actually proposing? That they abolish the menopause? Is that what he's going for?
I think he's saying that we need to be. I don't know what he's saying. What does it mean?
Is he saying that women who have the menopause,
the need? I guess they get time off. Let's just be honest.
Okay, but how do you get? Okay, but doesn't the menopause
in the workplace?
But it goes on.
Why are they doing it in the workplace? What does it have to do? It's a commitment to equity. Aha! Well, there you go. Ensuring that all workers have the opportunity to advance, lead, and retire with dignity. So you get to go home, you get to retire, you get all your benefits because you're no longer a bleeder.
No, but it goes on for 10 years, doesn't it, the menopause? Or can go on for 10 years. So do you get it?
I don't even know that.
But do you get 10 years off work? Paid?
I think, okay, I could be. I looked everywhere and I could for menopause education. But what I didn't do, what I wasn't able to do was look in my backyard.
Yeah. But the thing is, it is very painful, my understanding. And and you do get sort of brain fog and you forget why you've gone into rooms. And I've heard women talk about this.
But this has been going on forever. Why is there a special carve out now? Is this a new victimhood thing we're finding?
I don't really understand what the carve out is. I mean, it can't be you get time off work if you've got the menopause, because then you're off work for 10 years. It can't be that.
No, it's the productivity losses at the workplace due to menopausal symptoms total approximately 1.8 billion nationwide. That doesn't seem that much, really. 2 in 5 women consider leaving their job or leave a job due to menopausal symptoms.
I'm so ignorant about this subject.
No, but what is the... Okay, here's what my friend Jennifer Say, who used to be head of Levi's, and now she has XX company.
She's a woman.
She's a woman, verifiable woman. She says, what's happening? Why are they all virtue signaling about menopause lately? And can men who think they are women go through menopause? That's true.
They probably can.
Does Bob know what a woman is all of a sudden? What's he going to do? Give us each a personal fan? Because it's uncomfortable, but it's not like unknown. It's been going on for centuries, for millennia.
But it might be that there are certain symptoms of the menopause that we don't understand as men. Have never experienced. Well,
yes, that's quite an assumption.
Maybe. I don't know. Again, like my ignorance on this subject, I've never read into it.
Well, it's just another victimhood equity thing. As soon as you put the word equity, then all of a sudden it's like you're trying to get something because you're suffering like disproportionately to what other people suffer. So you should be excluded from something, or you should get something plusing from you because you're suffering from these extra bad cramps or hot flashes. I think it's called. But do you think people should get something for it?
All right, but then at the same time,
what
in the work? Well, look, now you're taking an aggressive tone. But when you're in the workplace, if you have a pain or a headache or something, you can go home. can't you? 'Cause
Not if you're building a bridge.
Okay, say...
Not if you're a welder.
Say...
You know, like, oh, I have a headache. Like, oh.
Say there's a fleet of
it's hot.
menopausal women building a bridge. I actually don't want them to build that bridge if they're in pain because they're going to mess it up.
I'm not going to cross over that bridge. That was what I was saying the other night was the idea of equity and the idea that women just, you know, like they're not getting paid for certain, or they're not disproportionately. Well, that's 85% of nurses are women. Because that's how they gravitate. They don't gravitate to welding. They gravitate to nursing.
Yes.
And so...
I mean, that's a different issue. That's the issue of the gender pay gap, what they call the gender pay gap, which isn't really a thing.
It isn't a thing.
Because once you account for people who choose part-time work or people who work fewer hours or that kind of thing, once you account for all of that, it basically vanishes to zero. So that's not a thing.
Yes,
in fact, there's a
like
really good,
teaching, too.
There's a really good book about this called... it's by Joanna Williams, and I think it's called Women versus Feminism, or Women Against Feminism. And she has a whole chapter outlining precisely why the gender pay gap is a myth. And helpfully, she uses facts, a lot of facts, supported facts. And
hopefully too, because that's...
And it's not... And
that's what I want to believe.
And but it happens to be the case. Women versus feminism.
So do you believe that feminism was a kind of a planned way to just increase the tax base?
No, I think feminism started out as an absolutely essential movement when women were not entitled to vote or have any rights whatsoever. And in order to cultivate a civilized society, they had to change something. I think it was really important.
Right, but do you think that it was captured ideologically?
Yes, as every movement is, yes. Okay. So you've got to draw a distinction between what the first wave feminists did, which is the suffragists, and then the militant wing, which is the suffragettes, and then you have second wave feminism, which is moving into the kind of Germaine Greer equal rights movement of the 60s, and then third wave and fourth wave. And there's a lot of confusion about where the two depart. A lot of people place the sort of third wave feminist movement around the sort of 90s, that sort of era, but then it becomes intersectional.
Yes,
and intersectional becomes something else.
Then and it's an advancement in its further progressive feminism. It became anti-feminist in the sense of it started to the same group and the same I would say the same extension of that ideology became a negation of the core issues.
Because it became a victim-centered thing, exactly what you're saying.
Okay.
For instance, the BBC, during this big feminist wave of around, I'd say 2000, before the woke movement, 2010, around then, maybe 2012, the BBC launched an app on the phone to help women to speak up in meetings. And what it would say is it would give you a little nudge saying, you haven't spoken enough, lady, make sure you speak. And it was the most patronizing anti-feminist. It's basically saying women are weak and they need an app to tell them when they should speak. And this was promoted as a big feminist achievement. So yeah, you're right. At some point, and there's feminists like Christina Hoff Sommers, Joanna Williams, Ella Whelan, all these feminists who, well, not feminists, they're women who are saying, well, actually, Christina Hoff Sommers calls herself the factual feminist.
Yes.
But they are women who are saying victimhood isn't feminism. If you're saying women are weak and need extra support, you're not a feminist.
Well, that's what Jennifer Say would say as well. Yeah. Is why do you have to have a new carve out, or is this new, this menopause idea of women being weaker or needing something even more?
Actually, women are tougher, aren't they?
Well, I mean,
they're better at pain to give apparently.
Birth. But no, is there? No, this is a serious question.
Go on.
Is there a crossover and a cross-sectional combination between what happened with gay rights? And as far as gay rights, the extension of gay rights coming into trans rights, undermining the foundational, the reason for raison d'etre for the existing for gay rights.
Yes.
And the same thing with women's rights. Now the extension of women's rights into trans rights and men taking the place of women. Do you think there's a commonality to that?
There is. I wonder. I don't know why that happens, where you push for a civil rights issue and then it turns back on itself. Why does that happen? You've got the same thing with anti-racism today, which is a really racially divisive movement.
Yeah.
Pushing back on the achievements of civil rights people. But yeah, okay. Well, let's.
But is there something? I mean, I believe that I think it's the lawyers and money. I think what happened was in my thinking of it.
Yeah.
And I've researched this for over 10, 15 minutes.
I saw you in the car doing it. I thought you are diligent. Whatever people say about you, you are diligent.
Well,
did you make notes?
It seems like
There's a note on
just
that.
made it now.
There is a note.
It just seems that the gays won in the sense
Yeah.
of the overall arching thing was, I mean, literally since, New York in the late 60s, you had, there were no real gay rights. I mean, you're talking about whether it was the man who invented computers, who they,
Alan Turing, who they castrated
his
because he basically helped win the war. So they thought, let's castrate him. That's good.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
That obviously is not a place that for gay equity.
No.
But then let's go up to where where gay people were allowed to gay marriage. That would say the peak of it was. I'm thinking that the idea was, from my perception, is that they won. The gays won. They got gay marriage. They got gay rights. You were able to, because to me the big one was equality, not equity, but equality.
Yeah.
To whereas if you have somebody that's a lifetime partner or something, and you're gay, you should have the same rights for some sort of benefits as a straight couple. That made sense to me.
Yeah.
It still makes sense to me. And so I think at that point, game over. They won, and they vacated the rooms where they were gathering, and
what rooms are the gays gathering in?
they were making these cases for political events. And I'm sure they were very fun. I'm sure there was great catering and everything. So they
very
left.
Tasteful. It would have been
very tasteful, tastefully dressed.
Yeah.
Very elegant. I love what, like in San Francisco, like the gay community would move into the shittiest neighborhoods.
Yeah.
And then see something that no one else saw, fix up these beautiful Victorian homes, make them beautiful. And all of a sudden, straight people were like, hey, we can move in.
Yeah,
Let's move in.
Yeah.
And so that was like a wonderful addition to what was happening to the community. And then what happened was, I think that they won, and they left to go live their lives in California and some other Texas and some other wonderful gay places. But then what happened was they left the door open, and then the NGOs, these non-governmental agencies, organizations, and the lawyers wanted to keep the money train going. How do we keep this going?
Well,
and that's when the trans issues, we'll just do the trans issues, and we'll do that same playbook for the gays, and then we'll keep the money train going. Well, that's just my take.
I think that's it. I mean, the key issue is, if you look at all of the documents about the gay rights movements in the 80s, the 70s, none of them ever mentioned the T. So this LGBT thing wasn't a thing.
Yeah. So when did this come into place, and what was the push behind it?
Okay, that's such a big question. I mean, a really good indicator of where we are.
Yeah.
Fred Sargent, who is one of the four organizers of the first ever Pride March. And if you look at those photos of them marching at a dangerous time, when people hated them, police violence against them was awful. It was a brave, courageous thing to do. And he's standing at the front with a bullhorn, directing them through the streets of New York. And
what years are we talking?
1970.
Okay, 1970.
A year after Stonewall. It was a year after Stonewall.
Was the big event that started,
And he was there for that.
Yeah.
And fast forward to now, Fred Sargent, who I would recommend people follow on Twitter, he's still there talking about this stuff, because he now thinks Pride should be abolished. He now thinks the thing that he set up, he now says is a homophobic movement, anti-gay movement.
Wow.
Now, and he's right. And what happened is the notion of gender identity ideology was tagged on, teamed with the gays. Now, the problem with that is they're not compatible. They're antagonistic. If you believe...
How so?
Because the gay rights is predicated on the notion that there is always a minority in any given population who are innately attracted to their own biological sex.
Right.
Now, whether that's to do with nature or nurture, that's a whole other debate. But they are there, and they're attracted.
You can't ignore the fact that exists.
It exists, it's a thing.
And it's always been there, yes.
And so gay rights are based on this fact that biological sex is a thing.
Yeah.
Once you eliminate biological sex, there's no gay rights anymore. So then you have a new movement, genderism, that comes along and says, biological sex is a slippery notion. It's on a spectrum, and actually people are attracted to their gendered souls, to things that are going on within. So if someone identifies as a lesbian but they're male, then they are a lesbian. And if you're not attracted to them as another lesbian, you're a bigot.
You're a bigot. Oh yeah, so that's pretty obvious.
Now that.
But can we go back to it, because you went to T. I think B was the beginning of like the.
Well, B.
To me, the
LGB.
The B was the beginning of the like. Well, I just considered well,
B is
bisexuals
just
is like
bisexual, but you're still
very greedy. Whatever's there.
But you're
mean?
assuming that sexuality is about choice and opportunity, and isn't B?
Yes. Well, B is like whatever. I'm there.
I don't think it's low.
I'm there. He's there. Well, she's not. He's not. Well, she's there. Well, she's there. He's there. It doesn't matter.
So for you, bisexual
it's all
is
like
just
a group growth.
low standards. It's just anything will do.
It's just that's just an outsider's take on it.
You could be You can be a very finicky B, a very choosy B.
Okay.
I only like one or two women and one or two men, and everyone else I can't.
But do you think that starts to undermine the?
No, because Bs are still. Bisexuality is still a thing, and it's still people who are same-sex attracted. Right? Okay. So it's a thing. And
they're occasionally same-sex attracted,
but it's still
partially.
Yeah,
you're saying mostly.
You're attracted to who you're attracted to. You fall in love with who you fall in love with.
Yeah.
And
that's
not a big deal. I wouldn't have thought.
Okay, but so you don't think that the B was the starting of the undermining? No, I
think it was the T.
Okay, it was the T.
And not insofar as...
So Bs weren't asking for extra rights or for extra inclusions and stuff?
No.
Okay.
Well, I mean, they just didn't want to be fired from their jobs if they were in a relationship with someone of the same sex, which is a reasonable request, I think.
Yeah,
they didn't want to be beaten up by the police just because they went to a bar with other people who had shared their orientation.
Seems fair.
These are reasonable things to in a free society. That's a reasonable thing. You don't have to approve, but you can't just beat people up because you don't agree with them.
I didn't say anything. I didn't suggest any physical violence. I just said they were greedy.
But what's happened now is the idea of gender identity ideology, which by the way,
it was usurped. The gay rights. I've just as an outsider looking at this, this is like it's been usurped, and seeing gay people visibly shaking, angry about like their rights, because I do think that there is, like we talked about, I do think that there is going to be a backlash to this, and I think we're experiencing it. So, so just walk us down the line. So someone who started the Pride, what's his name? Who started the Pride?
Fred Sargent.
Fred Sargent.
He was one of four, two men, two women, and they started Pride. Well,
why even have a Pride March when in New York they didn't even have a gay man was it 2 years ago?
Yes.
Or they didn't even have a gay man who was at the Pride March as one of the grand marshals of the Pride March.
The reason they did it is because Stonewall had happened.
Yeah, yeah.
And you've got to remember that at the time of Stonewall, homosexuality was illegal in most states.
Yeah.
And it was
sodomy laws.
Sodomy laws. And you also had the only bars that would run in New York for gay people were run by the mafia, basically. And this bar, Stonewall, was run by, I think, Fat Tony or something stupid like that. Yeah. It was massively unhygienic because it wasn't moderated or kept going to reasonable standards. It was continually raided by police who hated gay people. Yeah. There was all of this stuff going on. So and it was a dive. It was a real dive, by the way. And on the night of the Stonewall riots, it went too far. The police pushed in and people started fighting back. Yeah. Now you have the revisionists, the historical revisionists who say trans women of color led the Stonewall riots, which is interesting because if you look at all the photos of the Stonewall riots, they're all mostly young white men. Yeah. But never mind. Let's just leave that historical revisionism aside. But that's what they will do, by the way. Okay. But as it's happening, Craig Rodwell and Fred Sargent, who are partners at the time, are walking back that night. Yeah. It all kicks off. This goes on for days. Things get smashed up. It's a riot. It's a proper riot. But riots don't change the world, right? Riots are a kind of immediate explosion of rage, and they can often have a backlash effect. Sure. So what Fred Sargent and these other three decided was we need a peaceful protest movement that picks up from there and it moves. That's what the Pride March was about. It's non-destructive because throwing bricks and bottles
had a purpose.
It had a purpose, right? So that's why it was necessary, and it worked. People were persuaded, not by riots, not by violence. People eventually were persuaded to change their minds about gay people because they realized they're just like other people. Yeah. And they don't want special, they don't want to take your rights away.
No, they wanted equality, right? They wanted equality. They weren't asking for something extra.
Now, the genderists don't say that. They say, we want to take your rights away. We want to take your right to freedom of speech away because you have to use my pronouns. Right. You have to use the name that I want. Right? No gay activist ever said, if you don't call my husband, I think you should go to prison. They never said that.
You weren't a bigot.
They never said that. They said, we accept that that's your way of looking at it, but this is our choice.
And that was successful.
And that's the approach that
it really wasn't, it wasn't like violently confrontational. So
No.
so how was that usurped in your mind? And when was the turnover?
Well,
so you're saying about 2010.
I'd say a bit later.
Really?
Because what happened was, in UK terms, the foremost gay charity in the UK is called Stonewall, after the Stonewall riots.
Okay. Yeah.
And
But there have also been, but the UK Stonewall has been largely discredited for being taken over by trans people.
Same thing. So over here you've got GLAAD, GLAAD,
Yeah.
and over in the UK you've got Stonewall, and they decided around 2015, oh, exactly what you said. We've won. What do we do? We've got equal marriage, we've got equal rights, equal age of consent. There's nothing left to do. Let's go into the T business. And so then it became LGBT. And a lot of gay activists at the time said, don't do this.
Yeah.
Because gender ideology is opposed to gay rights. You're actually tagging on a parasite that will destroy you.
How is it against gay rights?
Because you can't have because homosexuality doesn't exist if there's no such thing as biological sex.
Oh, right. Yeah. So
it's not
so
a
they're
thing.
eliminating that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Their
which is why lesbian dating sites and websites today have roughly 20% men in it. People with beards saying, if you don't fancy me, you're a bigot. That's why that's happened.
Yeah.
Right? Because men, there's a lot of pervert men out there, and there's a lot of fetishistic men.
No, but just like, the thrill of trying to get a lesbian.
Yeah.
I'm sure that would be like an extra.
And we're not talking here about
like a bonus point for you.
Oh, well, they call it the cotton ceiling. There's a
I didn't know there's a term for it.
The term for the barrier that men who identify as women face in getting lesbians into bed is called the cotton ceiling. It's like the glass ceiling, but of course they're talking about the underwear. It's kind of gross. And
I didn't even. That's filthy.
It's gross. And
well, but there's got to be a term for men who are trying to get another straight man. There's like I'm sure that's an extra.
I think it's just buy them a few bottles of Budweiser, and that's all that is. But you know what men are like. But I think
we're going back to the B again.
We're going back to the B.
Whatever's left. Who's left? What do we got?
I don't think that's bisexuality. That's just prison male, isn't it?
Behavior.
But maybe.
Yeah.
But I think so you have this kind of situation now where I'm not talking about, so there have always been people who, for whatever reason, just cannot get on board with what it means to be male in their society, what it means to be female.
Yes.
And in order to live a life that is in any way comfortable, they have to present according to the stereotypes of the other sex. And that's always happened. And we used to call them transvestites or transsexuals.
Yes, I mean the tranny thing. First of all, that's like a bad word. Nobody uses tranny anymore. But I remember going to a tranny.
The way you say it sounds affectionate, though.
Well, there was a tranny Chinese restaurant in Manhattan.
What, really?
You would go to, because you know how what incredible hygiene trannies would, transsexuals must have. So let's let them serve our food. I just remember thinking, that's a lot of nail polish, and there's a lot of hair and eyelashes, and there's a lot of rice there, and who knows what we're seeing.
Yeah.
But it was fun. You went there because it was they weren't dancing in front of children, at a daycare or at a kindergarten. I just thought that the push, shove of it, and I still don't understand.
But those old school transsexuals, they were never trying to take away your rights.
Yeah, okay.
They were never saying, we're going to go and twerk in front of your kids.
Yeah.
They were never saying we're gonna force gay people to accept us into their dating spaces. They never did any of that. So this is a new thing, and a significant contingent of those who identify as trans today are autogynephiles. They're just men who are attracted or aroused by the idea of themselves as a woman, but they are straight.
Okay.
And there's a lot of those, and I know one of those, Debbie Hayton, who's written a book about this growing up as an autogynephile.
But this guy, he's
he'll
very
be fine
open about it.
He'll be fine with you saying that.
But he's very open about it as far as what he's. I mean, what I like about him is that he's. There's no subterfuge there.
No, or
he's very open about it.
Same with Blair White. Blair White doesn't say I'm a biological woman.
Yeah.
There's no sense because. Old school.
No, and I totally respect that, but also I think they respect biological reality and also the rights of other people.
Exactly.
And I think that puts them in a different category than this movement that you see that is
crazy.
violent.
Really violent. I mean, you get So, for instance, you know, at the LGBT Alliance conference in London 2 years ago, LGBT Alliance is the only real major gay rights group in the UK left since Stonewall got captured. And this is a gay rights movement gathering in London to discuss issues relating to gay rights.
Yeah.
A group of young people break in and release locusts or cockroaches or a plague of insects.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I saw this, yeah.
And disrupt right. Now, that is the sort of shit that neo-Nazis would have done at gay rights conferences back in the day. But now it's trans activists doing it. And you have to be able to see the similarity here. These are...
Yeah.
Trans activism, as it stands at the moment, is an anti-gay movement.
Wow.
Quite overtly anti-gay.
Wow.
And the trouble with that is a lot of gay people don't get it because they've been bamboozled by this LGBTQIA2S+.
Because they've been told that it's just an extension of their community.
It's absolutely not. It's a movement whose endpoint is the eradication of homosexuality.
Well, that's why it's so interesting if you look at their allies. The allies are, you know, the Arabs, Islam, Iran, because the mullahs in Iran, because they don't accept homosexuality. So the idea that this person is just transitioning into the other sex, we're fine with that.
They'll fund it. The Iranian government will fund sex change operations because being gay is punishable by death. So they'll fund you and they think they're straightening you out and heterosexualizing you, which isn't really much different from what the pediatric gender clinics, who are overwhelmingly populated by same-sex attracted youth. So to give you an example of this.
What do you mean? Who is?
So let's take the Tavistock Clinic in London, the NHS pediatric.
You're talking about the people who work there?
No, I'm talking about the patients.
Oh, the patients, yeah. So you're basically, they're manipulating gay people, vulnerable gay people, into thinking that they're in the wrong sex, when if you would have just left them alone, they would have discovered that they were gay. That's my understanding.
In most cases, yes. Like between 80 and 90% of those adolescents at the Tavistock were same-sex attracted, according to their own reports. So, and feelings of gender dysphoria in over 90% of cases resolve through the act of puberty itself. Right. So you're blocking the cure when you give them puberty blockers, and also what you're doing is if you put kids onto drugs when they're mostly either gay or autistic, you're just basically trying to straighten out. You're doing what the mullahs in Iran do. Yeah. Now, this all sounds kind of. I mean, I think so many people have been confused by this. Not just gay people who've been told that LGBT is a thing. Yeah. But also straight allies. Well, that's same thing.
Well, that's what I feel. We've been pummeled with this idea that somehow, after everyone has come to the conclusion that equality is gay rights, that somehow. We're being punished for that.
And now they're blaming gays for what the crazy TQ plus lot are doing.
Yeah, that's the backlash that we're talking about. That's why I think it's really important, like Gays Against Groomers are so, that Jamie, I forget her last name, but she said like, hey, we're going to lose our rights if we don't get on this. And so she's been really forward
when you see all that stuff,
about the threat.
When you see all that stuff, the sort of the twerking drag queen story hour, family friendly, just grotesque stuff. Yeah. That's not homosexuals. That's the queer TQ plus queer lot. Yeah. People who believe in queering society and
are that's they hiding under the rainbow? Is that the?
It's such a good disguise. Yeah. It's like Pride is now an anti-gay celebration.
Well, for sure, when in New York City there wasn't one white gay man as one of the what do they call it? Someone who leading the parade or there wasn't. It was trans.
Yeah, it was mostly like in London. The Pride March was led by an asexual, which is and it was a woman who dresses a little bit like a slut. But she says she's got no sexual feeling, so it's very confusing. It's very mixed messages.
It was much like the woman pretending to be black.
Yeah, Rachel Dolezal.
Rachel Dolezal, but no one's kicking these people out. They're being included.
It's that need to be a victim, right? If you're asexual, if you genuinely have a low libido, you're not oppressed. You're just not oppressed. It's fine. You don't need to go on a march. Let alone lead the march and pretend that you're the most oppressed when gay people have actually been burned at the stake over centuries. Yeah. There are actual forms of oppression, and then there's made up, look at me, I want to be a victim forms of oppression, which is not the same thing.
Where was the turn in that part? Because to me, I just remember growing up, like, for instance, the idea if you're a drug addict or, sex addiction was something that, didn't come up till much later. Was
it Michael Douglas invented
that?
Yeah. I think, yeah.
But it was just like, you're cheating.
Yeah.
You're cheating with as many people as you can. The idea that it's some sort of addiction. No, it's some sort of opportunity that you're taking advantage of because you're a movie star.
I love that he made himself the victim of having lots of sex.
I can't help myself. So, but at least in the days, like in the 70s or 80s when I grew up, people would hide addiction. They were embarrassed of it. It was humiliating. You wouldn't want to admit it. But now people come out and they come on TV and say, I'm an addict. People go, yeah, congratulations. And they're being celebrated for addiction. I think it's the same kind of thing.
Yeah, maybe.
It fits in.
Sex addiction, though.
Sex
It's
addiction.
a nonsense.
Well, my thing was that, but he says, Michael Douglas said, he says that he got throat cancer from cunnilingus.
What?
That's what he claims.
Can that happen?
He claims that he got, that he got.
How would that happen?
Well, that's what he claims. He got it. I mean, I just don't know, the machinations of the doctor thing. But what he says, can you imagine that conversation with
I see. It's through
with his wife.
It's through a virus. A virus contracted through oral sex. Well, that can happen. Okay.
But he's saying, but I mean, I don't know if I believe it 100%. Medicine, I don't go. You just can't believe some of the stuff. But here's the thing. That conversation must have been rough.
With the wife.
Honey, figured it out. How I got the throat cancer. I thought it was smoking. Turns out it was eating pussy. And it was a lot.
Were they married at the time, or was it previous?
Well, I mean, when he got throat cancer, I think it was...
He was married.
He was married. But I'm just saying that conversation. No,
That
it
would be
was.
awkward.
I just, God, I'm thinking about that... the film festival in Brazil, which was a lot of fun. I don't remember much about it because most of the time I was engaging in cunnilingus. But I'm just glad that I know. And then she's going to go, but not yours. I mean, your eating your pussy is the only reason I'm still alive. You kept me.
That sounds like a healthy marriage.
I just don't know how that...
how did it resolve? Did they stay together after that?
I don't know if they're together, but I definitely think that was a tough conversation.
That's tough. Yeah, that's really tough.
That's a tough one. But anyway, but the celebration of something that you shouldn't celebrate, like being an addict. Being
an addict, yeah.
Being an addict, or just, if you've recovered from it, but just saying you are an addict, you've went to
Sure.
therapy. I don't think it's anything to celebrate.
But there's a difference, isn't
There's no, where's the humility in that?
The Pride movement originally, though, it wasn't, I think it was necessarily just about saying, look, this thing that you all think you hate.
Yeah.
It's nothing to worry about. We're just human beings like everyone
We're
else.
not asking for anything, but...
And we're not going to be ashamed or hide away in the shadows anymore. And that, I think, is all...
Shouldn't fire us.
Shouldn't fire us, shouldn't beat us up.
Shouldn't beat us up, right?
Just we should have the same rights as everyone else.
Yeah, we just want to pay taxes. We just want to have
it's meant to be America. It's meant to be a free society.
Yeah.
So
people got behind that.
People got behind it. But then when it comes to... Fast forward to today.
Yeah.
And you have fetishists dressed as rubber dogs parading through the streets saying... We just want to be left alone to parade the dog. No, you don't. You want to be. You're an exhibitionist. You're exposing yourself. You're exposing your fetish.
Gigantic tits for the teacher and insisting, and the school board going along with it.
Yeah.
So I just think there was fear. I mean, I just think it was absolute abject cowardice to just say, no, that's enough of that. You're a loon. Get out of here.
So that was a Canadian woodwork teacher who had massive fake breasts.
Yes.
And but may have been a satirist.
Well, I know, but he never came out and admitted it. At least
there are some of the furries.
At least and what is that?
So these people honestly claim that this is a civil rights movement, that they are oppressed because they have an innate need to have sex while dressed as dogs. Now, and the problem with this stuff is people look at that and say, oh, look, that's what the gays are like. The gays are like that. No, these are a group of fetishists that have hooked onto a civil rights movement.
Right. Okay.
That's what it is. So,
it's like with Jay Leno's old joke. If God doesn't destroy these people in these places, he owes Sodom and Gomorrah an apology.
But they don't do it. I mean, straight fetishists we hear of all the time. A guy gets found in suspenders and a stocking with an orange in his mouth, dead, and people say, but they don't say, but that's what straight people are like. They just do. Yeah. No, they understand that there's a small proportion of fetishists in every population. But the problem with this lot is that they are trying to claim that look at that one there. That furry, that blue cat furry, looking, that's not enough.
So is this people that just have their bodies are so they feel so horrible about their bodies.
Well, that doesn't look much better, does it? That's a love kitten, a Maine Coon fetish kitten. That's not an oppressed person. For a start, that's an expensive suit. Like those suits aren't cheap. You know, if you want to get a good furry suit, you're talking $500 minimum. I've looked into it, not for myself, just out of pure curiosity.
But so what?
Look at that one. That was a squirrel with big tits.
So what? It's a squirrel with tits.
I think that's oh, no, it's a fox with tits.
Yeah, well, that makes sense.
That's better. I was worried about the squirrel.
So
thing.
what? I mean, so they buy these things and then what happens? They go places with them.
There are furry bars apparently. There are furry places that people go and hang out. I mean, you go into a bar.
Are they saying they're oppressed?
They believe they're oppressed.
By whom?
By the people who, I don't know.
People with regular costumes? At Halloween? Is it just Halloween they feel oppressed?
I mean, if you go into a bar and you've got like a fox with tits and a cow with a dildo, you're going to feel like you're in a David Lynch film. Like, it's not good.
Well,
But you know, we mustn't conflate this stuff.
Yeah.
The activists have conflated sexual orientation, being gay, which is just basically boring and normal and who gives a damn.
Right.
Conflated that with fetishism, exhibitionism, inappropriate behavior around kids, all of that stuff, which is what Pride has now become, as well as being a corporate monstrosity, so that now Pride in, was it last year? Was it in Dallas, was sponsored by Lockheed Martin, the world's biggest maker of armaments. What the hell is that got to do with, you know?
It becomes meaningless. But what I'm saying is, though, is this idea of tolerance and an openness to everything is you know, where does that lead us to? If this is it leading to pedophilia? Is what a lot of people fear, that they're trying to get this openness so that even that becomes acceptable.
Well,
so that there's no
the people trying to make that acceptable are pedophiles, right? They're the ones who want to make it. And there are people who call themselves MAPs, minor attracted people, and they want to hook themselves to the LGBTQIA.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's just another. I mean. Well, another danger for the gay community that they're being wrapped up into that.
Yeah, but the gay community is alert to this. Gay people have always pushed those people out whenever they've tried to come close to them. They did it back in the 70s with PIE, the Pedophile Information Exchange, who were trying to get in with gay rights groups, and the gay rights groups were going, fuck off. We have nothing to do with you. Get the hell out. And the problem with this lot is that there is now a conflation because the activists are winning, and people believe that this is most gay people. I promise you, most gay people. I don't know any gay people who don't think that Progress Pride flag doesn't represent them, and who
doesn't think it represents them?
No gay people I know think that Progress Pride is about them.
Okay. All right.
They think that Progress Pride flag with the extra chevrons and the stripes and all that.
And the brown stripe.
And the brown and black, because it's got to include brown and black people, even though the original rainbow was about unity and including everyone, but they're not very good with symbolism. They don't get it. No gay people I know think that represents them. No gay people I know think that Pride represents them anymore. Now, and admittedly, I tend to be hanging around conservatives now.
Yes.
So and gay conservatives obviously wouldn't like that. But even a lot of my left-wing friends didn't go along with it.
Okay, so what's the biggest danger for the gay community moving forward? How do you see this? Because like today, you know, when I was looking at the National Football League, I mean, a year ago they had a Pride flag day one on Pride Month, and they don't now. So whereas, I mean, like, because the backlash, I believe it's real, and I believe it is happening. I believe that, like, all of a sudden people feel, you know, this conflation of trans and, you know, drag queen story shows at, you know, storytelling time at kindergartens and the teachers union. I think that it seems to be some sort of attack on Western civilization, and gay people are getting caught up as part of that attack on Western civilization.
Well, to be fair, though, gay people have to distance themselves from the TQ+. Right? So there has to be a complete severance between LGB and TQ+.
But there's no new organization that's taken up and say, okay, we're separating from this.
LGB Alliance does.
Oh, the LGB Alliance?
They're explicitly doing that, and I think there's a chapter in America now, and they're very explicitly, because they recognize that. And again, it comes back to that the old school liberal point, which is you can do what you want with your body. You can dress as you want, call yourself what you want. You can't force other people to play along with it, and you can't force women out of their spaces. And you can't force your way into women's spaces when you're a man. You can't force your way into gay spaces when you're straight. Like, it's simple. It's simple. So the gay rights groups have to stand up against the TQ+ and say, that's not us. Yeah. That's not us. It's got nothing to do with us. Because until they do, in the public imagination, it's all one and the same thing.
That's right. I'm sure that's what that is. And I think that the people, you know, I think that what do you think the potential backlash would be? I think it's going to be grouping them all together and the potential for losing rights again.
Yeah, probably. And you've already had a backlash. I mean, by the way, a lot of transsexuals are sick of this stuff as well. They're like, leave us out of this. We don't want to be involved in all this crazy stuff. You know, so it's not helping anyone. Like, none of this is helping anyone.
No, I remember like when the idea of transsexuality was in the 70s.
Yeah.
And it was an extremely rare and new form of treatment for a very few group of people.
Yeah.
That was extremely painful, and it took a long time, and it was really expensive, and it was something that these people, it took years to get through.
Yeah, and it's not an easy process.
It's not an easy process, but through that long-term process of doing it, they weren't asking for any particular rights. This was just something that was deeply felt.
They had to do it.
Yeah.
Well, they felt they had to do it, and
the coercion is what pissing people off now.
I think people think that today's trans activists are the same as those people, but the vast majority of people who call themselves trans now have no surgery or medicine whatsoever.
Yeah.
They're fully intact males in a dress going into women's toilets. Yeah. That's not the same.
And prisons.
And prisons and sports and domestic violence refuge centres, for God's sake. This is why J.K. Rowling had to set up Beera's Place, which is the only rape crisis centre in Scotland for women only, because all the others accept men in.
Yeah.
And that's a rape crisis centre. Believe it or not, women who have been the victim of sexual assault don't want men around, and that's reasonable.
Can you imagine the woman in an English prison, like she's got tired of, like, she finally beaten by her and raped by her husband for years, couldn't take it anymore, and killed him in the middle of the night, and then said, I couldn't take it, but then I'll go to prison for the rest of my life, but at least I'm free, I'm safe in here. And all of a sudden, some guy comes in, hi, I'm your roommate, Barbara.
And it has happened. People keep denying it, but it has happened. But I'll give you one more example just to explain I'll give you a specific example.
So this is the organization that's separating.
Yeah, LGB Alliance.
LGB Alliance. Okay.
So to give a perfect example of the way in which victimhood...
LGB, so they're separating from TQ+.
Exactly.
So they should get rid of the Bs while they're at it. If they're going to...
Bees are fine. You've got a real issue. You've got a bee in your bonnet. You've got a real issue with it.
I think if you're limiting it, let's just keep it to lesbian and gay.
Let me tell you about a woman called Sal Grover.
Sal Grover.
Sal Grover was a woman that, in the wake of Me Too, set up a women's only app in Australia. There she is. And then a man went on the app, a man who identifies as a woman, calls himself Roxanne Tickle.
Smart guy.
Let's have a look at him. Look up Roxanne Tickle. And this guy, there he is. So, says, I'm a woman, I should be on this app. Now, Sal kicked him off the app, which was called Tickle. And then this guy sued her for discrimination. And the legal case is called Tickle versus Giggle. And this sounds made up, but it's all real. Yeah. And a judge in Australia has decided that Sal Grover was discriminating against this person because they think they're a woman and had to pay. So according to Australian law, a man can just declare himself a woman and he is a woman by law. Now that's how crazy we are. This guy who is obviously a fully intact male says that he's the victim. Says that he is the victim and women must allow him into their spaces and the Australian courts agree.
So that's literally as insane as in 1857 here and the Dred Scott decision where it was a black man who's went to court to get his slave back.
Yeah.
And the 9 white men on the Supreme Court basically declared Dred Scott a horse, or the same as a horse, as a property, and gave it back. And that was the beginning of that was the legal landmark case for slavery in the United States.
Wow.
And so, but that was from a black slave owner.
So there are precedents here for...
but the
law can be absurd.
The law can be absurd and it can be oppressive. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And that is like, you would think that there would be some, whether it's the legislature who can overtake it. I mean, the good thing about the United States, as imperfect as our political system is, the checks and balances are what really keeps us free.
Yeah, and you've got the Supreme Court.
So you can't, but we got a Supreme Court now, but if the Supreme Court is expanded to 12 or 24 or 36 or 48, whatever happens, then I think that could go too. I mean, there's definitely, cases where there was interpretations that were not constitutional, whether it was the Japanese internment, whether it was prayer in school.
So what do you do if the Supreme Court decides that that guy is a woman?
Then we're in trouble.
Then you're in trouble. I mean,
well, then the check would have to be the legislature would have to put in a law.
Yes.
And then that would have to be, or put a constitutional amendment, so that there are, there are measures that we can take to countermand, some bad judicial rulings. Difficult as it is, but the idea though is that here it's supposed to be difficult. Like, what can they do? Sal Grover, what can she do to?
Well, she's gone to a higher court now,
Okay.
so there's an appeal, and she's raising money for that. But I'm sorry, like if you look,
this is happening right now.
Right now, well, if you look at that picture of Roxanne Ticker, like, if you're telling me that's a lesbian,
yeah.
I mean, I know some lesbians don't spruce themselves up very well, but like that's an extreme version of.
I've seen some 5 o'clock shadows on lesbians, but that
is
extreme razor burn right there. No, it seems a joke. It seems like something
a joke.
Our friend Graham Linehan did once.
It would seem like a made-up thing. Well, Graham Linehan once went on to a lesbian dating app and didn't bother even. I think he put a bit of makeup on, but it was basically just him, and he was allowed on. And of course, the trans activists say, "Oh, that proves that you're a creepy fetishist." He was obviously making a satirical point and doing it very well. And you know.
So is it just the? Is this just the beginning of the end of society because of these kind of things? Is there a bigger picture behind this? I mean, it seems like a collapse of common sense, a collapse of dignity, a collapse of people's rights, a misuse of people who have, through a long struggle, have been usurped for some, demonic, not necessarily, well, demonic or just definitely negative, an attack on decency.
Well, just stop telling kids they're victims if they're minorities, if they're female. Stop allowing the victim card to be the strongest card that you can play.
You see, that's the problem, because I think it's all over society, Andrew. Because you have also, there is a, in psychiatry, which is, as Alan Watts says, about psychiatry being a real medical professions, like they would wear white coats if they thought they could get away with it.
Yeah,
but it isn't. It's just, but they have the dialectic, or it's the description of different agreed upon illnesses, mental disorders, that they ascribe it to this, and like ADHD and this. To me, it's like, what kid can just get up in the morning and go sit down for 8 hours in school with like 10-minute breaks? It's like, that's not ADHD. That's a normal boy who needs to be out jumping on trees and playing in puddles and stuff like that.
There's an over-diagnostic culture, and there's also and telling kids that they're, if a girl is a tomboy, she might be a male. That's just malpractice, isn't it?
Yeah, well, there's nothing more cruel than the names that they give it is a giveaway to me. Like, when they say gender, supporting gender, what do they call it? Affirming care. And they just the repackaged castration drugs. If you call it, this is a repackaged castration drug.
Yes.
That gives you a micro penis.
What's it called? Lupron. It's the one they used for tearing.
And this castration drug, if given to prepubescent boys, will limit their growth forever.
Yeah. We now know puberty blockers have lots of.
But there's still some places that are still doing it in the United States.
Worstly, in the UK, the current Labour government is trying to put through a law that will criminalise. They call it conversion therapy, and what they mean is, if a kid goes to a doctor and says, "I think I'm in the wrong body," if the doctor then says, "Okay, well, let's talk about what other issues might be going on in your life, any issues of abuse, autism, maybe you're gay, maybe there's other," that he can be then criminalised for even exploring those other issues. That's what the new law will effectively do.
So is that law in place now?
They're trying to put it through right now.
Now, who's pushing this?
Labour, the government. Wow. The UK government.
So is it just Labour's idea just to get anybody underneath the umbrella of Labour to expand their voting base? Because that's what it seems to be in the United States with the Democrats.
Who the hell knows what they're... I think a lot of people in power don't understand these issues, and they're a bit thick.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of that. Like, they just don't get it. They think that castrating gay youth is a progressive thing to do. That's effectively what they're saying. But they don't understand it in those terms, of course. That's the reality, but they don't understand it in those terms.
So do you see this coming to a head? Do you see it getting worse? Do you see like...
Oh, I don't know.
Whereas you're here in the United States. You're here. And I think do you think it's any better here than in the UK?
Much better.
Much better as far as these issues?
Well, you've got more surgeries on minors in the US. You've got more like mastectomies for healthy girls who think they're in the wrong body. All of that stuff. But I will say they're confined to certain states.
Okay.
And there's a common feature among those states, and I think it's the way they vote.
Yeah.
So there is a problem there. You've got a lot of abuse of kids going on.
Yeah. Still.
Yeah. And
well, even if they win the Supreme Court, which is coming up soon. Yeah. The beginning of June. Yeah. Or definitely by the 8th or the 10th of June.
Yes.
The Supreme Court will come back with a decision on Title IX. They're going to affirm it, or they're going to knock it out.
Remind me what Title IX.
Title IX was put under Nixon, or the last progressive president.
Yeah, but that was for women's rights, wasn't it? That was for.
Well, that was for if you had a sport in the university that was federally funded, you had to have for men. You had to have an equal sport,
of course,
for women. That was President Nixon. The last he put in the EPA too. So he also wanted universal health care. This is 1971. Yeah. The person opposed that, Teddy Kennedy. So his biggest regret, according to Robert, said, my uncle's biggest regret was opposing and not trying to work something out with Nixon. Universal.
Does he mind you doing the impersonation?
I don't think he's ever seen it. But I will say every time I talk to him, I practice it.
Of course.
But so there was.
So what happens then? If the courts vote that way, then does that mean men can be in women's sports all of a sudden?
Yes, across the board. And even if they affirm it, that just means the 27 states that now oppose boys and girls sports, that just means they can maintain it. The 23, I believe, can still continue. So I got to look that up exactly.
So what you've got
but that's my understanding of it.
You've got basically people who think they're progressive, calling themselves progressives, fighting against women's rights, fighting against gay rights.
Yeah.
And they think they're doing the exact opposite. How frustrating! And
that to me. How do you I don't understand. I don't understand how that isn't obvious.
Well, it's obvious because you've thought about the issues and read about the issues. A lot of these people just haven't. All you need to do is get any of these ideologues into a room and say, "What is your definition of gender identity? What is it?
Yeah.
What is it? This soul you think they have in their body? What is it? And what's your proof for it? And unless you can answer that, you damn well shouldn't be putting through laws based on that premise."
Well, I find it's like it was being argued in front of the Supreme Court, this last decision, and she couldn't answer it, the attorney for the other side.
They can't.
But at the same time, it was enough that it's going now. So there's going to be 3 women out of the 4 women on the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
That are going to agree to essentially to have a minority ruling against the women.
Yeah, it's so funny as well that it's a lot of women are pushing against their own rights. That's happening a lot.
Yeah, I see that. And it's my observation at this point in my life that women hate other women, and that women are the worst.
A lot of them do.
Well, I remember just seeing a picture. It was a couple summers ago, where you saw very powerful women. It was Rosie O'Donnell. It was Ellen DeGeneres, Oprah Winfrey, and Kathy Griffin, and these other successful women in a room with this guy who was the, Budweiser light man, dressed as a woman.
Dylan Mulvaney.
Dylan Mulvaney. He's in the room with them. And I swear, everyone in that room knows that that's a guy.
Of course they do, yeah.
But so what is that purpose? Why are they supporting that, a guy?
Did you see Drew Barrymore kneeling to Dylan Mulvaney?
Yeah, that was. Show. I know Drew, and she's lovely, but I think she's.
But again, they think it's real. They think. What's so frustrating?
Why was she kneeling though? What was the? It was like an apology, or what was it?
No, it was like it wasn't it was like, it was a gesture of support. But Dylan Mulvaney is a gay man who doesn't require support.
I think he's still with a woman, right?
I thought he was gay.
No, I don't know. Is Dylan Mulvaney? Anyway,
but
it's just like...
But look, it's so frustrating because in the UK, for instance...
It's also humiliating.
It's really humiliating.
It's like women... They're saying that women, being a woman, is just putting on makeup and a dress and talking. And truthfully, he talks like an idiot. Women don't talk like idiots.
He is... If you want to see the height of misogyny, the height of anti-female rhetoric, just Google Dylan Mulvaney's music video. He made a music video called something like Days of Girlhood. And it's basically him prancing around, shopping, drinking champagne, putting on lipstick. It's every misogynist cliche wrapped up in one video. Oh, his shoes are off because he's a ditzy girl. You know, right, so
she's an idiot.
So it's not, so women are idiots, they're ditzy, they like to shop, they like to drink, they like to gossip.
Yeah. And it looks like it was one of those whorish evenings too, which is after an evening. So that's
exactly,
like...
there's all of that. So it's every misogynistic stereotype. And yet a lot of women embrace this.
So what is the embrace? It's self-loathing that they would embrace this.
But at the same token...
Those are real women.
There's real women with him. Most of the pushback against gender identity ideology, in the UK at least, has come from women. Female activists who know that their rights are threatened. They are so frustrated by this sort of stuff. Okay. They're so frustrated by women betraying them.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
that's the most frustrating thing.
Well, there's Scottish ladies...
they're brilliant.
Scottish women who are very brave women, by the way.
They're called Four Women Scotland. They're just 3 women who took on the Scottish government, forced this case to the Supreme Court.
And won.
And it meant that now in UK law, it's clarified that sex means sex. It doesn't mean what you identify as. It means what you are. And that's so important.
And the backlash against them and the violence
it's horrible.
Threatened against them.
Threats, abuse.
So, I mean, that is the biggest misogynistic event, is that women standing up for other women are being attacked by men.
Yeah.
But because they're dressed in drag, somehow they're the victims. That to me is it's hard to get your head around.
It's a misogynist stream. What a great time to be a woman hater.
Yeah.
Because you can do it and call yourself progressive, and the left will cheer you on and say, yeah, you go and punch that wicked witch. You go and do it. It's so mad.
It's undermining the suffrage movement.
Oh, completely. It's the opposite. Well, that's why they hate the suffragette flag now. Yeah. Like the trans activists, they see it as a hate symbol. Because a lot of the women's rights groups use the suffragette colours.
Yeah.
And trans activists say that's a hate group now.
Okay. Wow. That's a lot to get my head around.
Isn't it mind-boggling, all of this?
It is mind-boggling because for me, it's so effing obvious. And it's such common sense. But I do think that to me, what it is, I think it's the goodwill that people want to make the right choice. And they don't want to be considered, whether it's racist or whether it's homophobic or whether it's, anti-trans, transphobic. They don't, so I think what it is, it's an abuse of people's goodwill.
But you know what would be quite good is if we got a trans activist on this show to argue the point. But there's no way they'd come on. But I'd be up for that.
Yeah. Well, maybe we should. Well, I think, so getting back to the beginning of this idea of...
Well, your note on your card.
What was your one note that I had?
What was the note?
Menstruation, menopause. The idea that women...
Thorough.
Yes. Women should get something extra for this going through. And if they get it, then...
Well, you know what?
A guy dressed as a woman should get it too.
That's the end point, isn't it? So if you're going to pass a law saying you can have time off for the menopause, I promise you some men are going to start identifying into the menopause. You've seen them already identifying into menstrual cramps. Have you seen that?
No.
There are videos online of men pretending to have menstrual cramps, wearing a dress, saying, I've had my first period. It's so empowering. No, you haven't. You haven't got a womb.
I know. Well, you know what? It's interesting because when you get to that next level of questioning, when you ask, the next, which like my favorite thing, which stymied that it's got to be Minneapolis. One of the representatives said, well, if we're going to put tampons in the boys' room, what size tampons should we use? And everybody's like, because the cat's out of the bag at that point. Yeah. It's just.
Everyone knows. Everyone knows it's nonsense. That's the funny thing. It's like
they know it's nonsense.
We are divided. It's like J.K. Rowling did this tweet about that Roxanne Tickle and said the world is divided between those who will admit that this is not a woman and those who will pretend that it is. Not, she says, everyone knows that that's a man, and it's true. Yeah. There's no one on this earth.
So it's just abject cowardice.
It's cowardice and probably fear. You know how terrifying these activists are. You've had some of the abuse from them. They're scary people. They're threatening, scary, violent people. So
scary, violent, mass murder potential too.
Men as well.
Yeah, and they're men. Yeah. Well, and a couple of women too.
Yeah, but men are
mostly
aggressive. Like that. It's so funny to me. A man in a dress shouting, "Treat me like a woman, you fucking whore," while you're trying to punch them, and behaving basically like an angry misogynist bloke.
Yeah, it's basically male anger and that, being weaponized with emotion of pretending to be a woman, using a woman's emotion as an outlet to get that anger out. It is something else. Like seeing, like, first time I saw it was, of course, on YouTube or one of these things where you see some guy going, obviously a guy, and the guy called him sir. You motherfucker, I'll rip your fucking lungs out. You misgender, And I was like, wow.
Yeah. That's about as male as it gets. Yeah. That reaction. But if you want to pass as a woman, don't do that shit. It's a basic thing. Just don't behave like a man with anger management issues. That's all you need to do. Do what Dylan Mulvaney does. Paint your nails. Yeah. Prance about, because apparently that's what women do. That's all that women do. Yeah.
I would think that there would be the Million Woman March. And when there was the Woman March, they were pro women. They were asking women, well, what is a woman? And they were still, because they want those allies.
Yeah.
And they still feel like, so I think until that fear subsides, until they can get over that, be more courageous and stand up for women, they're going to continue to have their rights usurped.
But it's tough because the women that do stand up get so much abuse.
Yeah.
And they get more than men,
Yeah, Riley Gaines, So it really is.
So it is hard.
The biggest misogynistic attack. I mean, the death threats on J.K. Rowling.
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Oh.
Well, I'm glad that you're able to get that off your chest.
I mean, I didn't even want to talk about this today. I wanted to talk about origami or something.
Well,
you were adamant. You made your notes. And
I did my menstruation thing. Idea that you should get time off for.
Do you know what?
For normal. For every. This is not new. Menstruating. Menopause isn't new. You shouldn't. This isn't like a new disorder.
But have you spoken to a woman about the experience of menopause? Or maybe
no.
Well,
it's none of my business.
But you will do a podcast about it. I tell you what, I'm going to go away.
Two men talking about menopause.
I'm going to go away and
get to the truth.
I'm going to read about menopause and try and understand it more.
I just think it's just another way to get some time off. That's paid.
Isn't there a male menopause?
I've
heard of that.
My ex-wife seems to think so. She called it andropause.
What's that mean?
She's convinced I had it.
The andropause. That makes sense. Yeah, andro. Andro means men.
Andropause.
So what does it mean?
Because it's a lowering of testosterone.
Oh, that's not a disease. That's just
the idea that you somehow it's just crap. It's just another way to get more money from the pharmaceutical industry. And giving testosterone to men.
Isn't taking testosterone really dangerous anyway?
Well, it makes everything grow. The whole idea. There's a reason why it's diminishing,
Yeah. I think it increases the risk of heart trouble.
I'm sure. Well, if it gets everything to grow, that would include your organs, not just your muscles.
Yeah.
And bone,
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's crazy.
What can we talk about next time that we know nothing about? I think, because I like that premise that we take something like the menopause.
Two men talking about women.
No idea. And we'll talk about that.
Tibetan chants.
Let's talk about Tibetan chants.
The Taiwanese chant, that's the one. That's the most interesting one because it's just one note.
Is that all it is?
Yeah. Even the one note, they break it up. So it's like.
Is that it?
Yeah. So
I don't want to sound racist, but that sounds like terrible music.
And it seems lazy.
Is that their music or is that their chants?
It's a music.
But that's not like their hit parade. That's not like their. They don't put a record. They don't put like a record. How old am I? They don't download a MP3 and listen to that, do they?
I know the Buddhists, the monks in Taiwan, when they listen to that, that's like their Led Zeppelin.
Is that right? Again,
we'll talk about more. I think this was good though. I thought the stuff about So this is Rob Schneider with the Brit. Today we talked about menopause and menstruation, why women should maybe consider getting some extra special time off for that. And we also talked about, what else did we talk about?
Gay stuff.
Gay stuff. All on the show. Rob Schneider and the Brit.